Okay, good morning and welcome, you amazing human beings. It's currently Wednesday, the 16th of November. This is Pounds for Breakfast, and as always, I am Dane van der Mas. Now, if you're with us in our previous session, we caught some buys on GBPUSD, but I still expect a lot more to come out of this trade in the next couple minutes. So once London opens in the next 11 minutes, we should see a continued impulse towards the top side. Now, if you weren't part of that, don't worry. If we get a breakthrough and breakouts of resistance, we will obviously catch that and we'll do that together. Just a quick shout out to every single one of you that are in the chat. You guys are absolutely amazing. I did not check the time last night, and I was up until about 1, and then again up super early, 4 or 5, I'm not even sure. So yeah, if I look a little bit drained, it's not because it's cameras, it's 100% because I slightly am, but I will be getting some rest directly after this broadcast. Prepare for the 3:15. We're going to be getting that some data on the US. It's going to be big, it's going to be massive, and you definitely want to be a part of that. If you aren't already a Globex 360 live account holder, you want to get that sorted out so you can get access to all the premium edition shows. Now, I shared this morning's GBP, CPI and PPI data release for free within the group, but in the future, it's only going to be Pounds for Breakfast that you are going to be able to see free if you don't have a Globex 360 live accounts. Now, it's an amazing opportunity to invite people to obviously come in for free and have a look at things. But obviously, if you want to get a bit more serious with trading, you want to catch all the events as well as amazing things that are coming, then you definitely want to be a part of that. Now, I've received a lot of requests asking when are we going to be rolling out deposit bonuses. I'm super happy to announce that in the course of this week, we are going to be rolling out some new categories of account options that are going to give you some premium effects and feel some more needed attention for those of you who have bigger accounts. But we're also going to be pulling out and introducing deposit bonuses. So I know this has been something people have been asking for a while. So specifically, you have those small accounts and you're looking to trade indices, you need a bit more equity, a bit more margin in order to do that. This is going to help you do exactly that. So again, once again, you've asked, we've listened, and we've implemented. So again, it could happen today, it could happen by Friday, but I do know the team is hard at work implementing, introducing all these things. In addition to that, guys, if you don't have a cashback wallet, go ahead and get yourself one. It's $3 for every time you place a trade in the market. It's an absolute no-brainer. By the way, have a look at your GPUSD trades, because if you are in those trades, all I have is one thing to say: we are in the money right now. But before we get there, before we get into the live trading side of things, we're obviously going to have a look at the news and have a look at just what's happening in the markets. But yeah, first and foremost, if anybody is new with us, if you're brand new to the channel, brand new and live with us, just obviously go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and let us know if you are new. If you're new, we want to give you a Globex 360 warm welcome, that we just know who is new with us and who's attending for the very first time. So if it's your first week in the markets with us, let us know, let us welcome you. This is how we do things at the Globex 360 family. We share the love, we share the information, we keep the chats alive. That's what it's all about. We're growing one of the biggest trading communities in Africa. If you want to be a part of that, just simply like and subscribe. Super simple, right? And the best part about liking and subscribing, right, is it doesn't cost you a cent, right? So hitting that like button costs you nothing, subscribing costs you nothing, and you get a ton of value and a ton of benefit. Guys, once again, go have a look at your GPUSD trades. My alarms are busy going off like crazy, but we are making back that giant pullback that we saw from the downside. And we, depending where you've entered, could be up to 30, 40 pips in profit already on that one alone. I did see someone in the chats in our previous stream say, sell GBPUSD now. I don't know who that was. It must have been someone from another academy. Anyway, don't worry. I blocked and deleted them from the channel because we don't like those types of comments, right? If we have an opinion, anybody can have an opinion. If you have an opinion about a subject, please write it nicely, right? Don't give instructions to buy or sell anything, because remember, this is not financial advice. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I'll never say to you with a gun to your head, do this now. I'm simply making trades, and it's your opportunity and your personal choice whether you wish to follow me on that or whether you wish to say, listen to anything that I'm really saying, if I'm honest, right? Because hey, I'm just a guy on YouTube, right? You don't have to listen to anything that I'm saying. But that's the beauty of the Globex 360 live TV channel, is this is a community built for us by traders for traders. And a massive, again, thank you to the Globex 360 team for making something like this possible. Every single hardworking individual at the office, I see you guys, I listen to you guys in meetings, I see how you're helping our clients, every single one of us. The team helps me with my own deposits and withdrawals, and I'm just always amazed at how much every single person gives and the loyalty and the love towards this brand. I've worked with many other brokers in the past, and I've just never seen integrity and transparency like I've seen here. And that is why I've made that decision. Take everything that I'm doing and focus in being part and parcel of the Globex 360 team. And for you, it's so much easier. All you have to do is open up a live account and you can be part of the family, and you will see things that you've just never seen anywhere else. So again, I'm going to stop right there. Otherwise, I'm going to get too sloppy, pull my heart out. But anyway, we're here for the trading. We're here to have a look at what's happening in the world. And we're going to start, as always, we're going to jump straight into the news, have a look at what's happening in the world. And it's going to be same old from a South African point of view. But let's jump into it. Let's have a look at what is happening. And we are going to just dive a little bit deeper into the markets. There was a news article that I just accidentally closed. There we go. That's going to be following some of that pound data. So we are going to get into the fundamental data, but at first we're going to look at the news and just see what is currently happening in the world and how can we understand and capitalize on that moving forward. Beautiful stuff. So let's jump in. Let's share our screen real quickly. And we're going to start off on the local front. I don't know if you guys are tired of local news, just let me know. I'm more than happy to cut it out of the show. I prefer, high uplifting stuff. I prefer things that actually make sense. Load shedding makes zero sense, right? We collect hundreds of millions, billions in taxpayer fees, and we can't keep the lights on. So if you guys want me to cut out the local news, let me know. I'm more than happy. Once our team increases, we will get to the point where we have news reports that are physically going out and getting interviews, building real content for us, things that traders want to know, right? I don't care much about load shedding. We obviously have to make plans around that, but I care about decisions that are being made that impact us as traders, decisions and impacts that happen on the South African Rand. So that is where we're going to cover a ton more information. So if you want me to cut out local news, just let me know, and I will heed and listen to what you're saying, and we will go ahead and do that. Okay, let's have a look at what's happening in the US, right? So obviously, the biggest item is obviously that FTX is going to continue to have a damaging effect on the markets for quite a bit of time, right? They're comparing, FTX's rise and fall to something like a Ponzi scheme, and this is extremely disheartening to hear, right? FTX being one of the top two liquidity houses and exchanges for cryptocurrency as a whole, it's a setback for the industry. Right? It's a setback if you're a crypto enthusiast. If you enjoy the technology as much as I do, it's a massive setback for the industry. They're going to continue to dive in. There's going to be more regulation in place, and it's a necessity. I was listening to one of the founders of Binance, the competitor company, and he's saying that regulation is needed. Transparency is needed. If these exchanges are holding client funds, the proof of those funds need to be there. That transparency needs to be there, and I think this is a slight setback, but yes, I do think it will transform the industry. It's a step back, but it will ultimately result in something better. And I think we need to really start to look at this theme moving forward in a general perspective, right? We're about to see things get extremely bad in all other countries outside of the US. US is going through its recession. It's still going to be bad. We're still going to see negative effects there, but they've dealt with it very, very swiftly. They understand their model. They've had, 20 plus recessions in a first world economy to understand the model and to really have enough data to navigate it. The rest of the world, we're about to see things get extremely difficult and challenging in the next 6 months, right? Specifically here in South Africa, is the next 4 to 6 months is what economists say. We're going to see things really tighten up. We're seeing the petrol rate increase sometime soon, a little bit better for diesel, but we're seeing it on our parastatals. It's going to start to trickle down to the end user. If you have a job right now, if you have a form of employment right now, count your blessings, count yourself lucky. But I think what we also need to understand is that whenever these things happen, it's a shake-up. It's an opportunity for new opportunities. And if you haven't been taking trading seriously, this might be an opportunity for you to really start to allocate hours a day to looking at the markets. If you haven't been taking trading seriously and you've been trading with $100 accounts and not figuring out how you've made it, this might be the opportunity to start looking at things on a bigger scale and a bigger picture, right? Traditional businesses are not going to be the same after we go through this recession as it's been with all past recessions. So instead of looking at the negative, look at the positive. There's going to be new opportunities across the board. How can you capitalize on that? And I think that's going to be the bigger theme that we're going to need to stick on as well as together. Outside of that, I don't see anything else too much that I obviously am super into outside of the retail sales data that is going to be coming in for the US. Looking at the pound sterling, surging inflation undermines recent gains, right? So surging inflation is obviously due to the fact that we get those higher than expected PPI and CPI numbers. Let's just see here. Yeah, the time is accurate. There's no sign of a slowing pace for the core prices and price rises in the UK. Now, this is obviously having a little bit of a different effect than what we've seen on the dollar, right? With the dollar, CPI came out higher than expected in previous months. PPI came out higher than expected. Everyone said, yes, the dollar must rise. The UK is dealing with things a little bit differently, right? They're seeing these higher than expected readings and they're saying, oh, right, this isn't great, right? They understand, they've seen it happen to the dollar. They can see it happening to their currency, right? So we saw a bit of a manipulation. I was of the personal opinion, again, it's just my personal opinion, that it was a bit of manipulation. We could see the pound rise over the next coming hours, which we're obviously looking at in the next minutes. What do we end up getting on that data points and on that market? Now, moving away from the news, we are going to be having a look now at that fundamental data. So let's open it up and let's have a look at what is happening and what are the releases for today that you need to be aware of. So looking at it, we've just got that PPI, CPI data for the pound. If you're part of the previous show, we broke this down. In any event, mostly positive, short-term good for the pound, long-term not so good. This afternoon, we're going to be trading retail sales for the dollar. You do not want to miss that. It's 3:15. If you've got a Globex 360 live account with more than $100, we are going to pop out that email around about lunchtime today, but you will also have access to those links, all links, in your client area. And you simply head to www.globex360.co.za. Link is down in the description and click in and log into the client area. And on the left-hand side of your screen, you're going to see different options, right? Where you have your accounts, types, account balances, things like that, your cashback wallet. You'll also see there Globex 360 Live TV and the show names. You can simply click on the show name and it'll take you right into the show for your convenience. So retail sales are up this afternoon. We will be trading this live as a separate special edition session. And in addition to that, we will be trading the New York Stock Exchange as well as a separate session together. But obviously we're right in here right now trying to have a look at what is the impact on the London session. So without further ado, let's jump straight into that as we move into our live trading section and just have a look at what are the impacts of the market. And we'll do some analysis. We're going to move away from fundamentals and let's move as well into the live trading session. So I'm going to close up here. Let's have a look at that GBP USD. GBP USD is absolutely dominating the markets right now, right? As we said, again, this just comes down to time and effort in the markets. But if you're on that GBP USD trade, can I get a massive let's go baby? Because that's where it's at. I think I might even bring Trump into this one, even though he isn't involved in the GBP USD. But let's just bring him in because I think, guys, that is a massive, massive trade, right? Still running, still pushing, still pumping. And we're seeing that UK volume starting to pull in there. And we're running around about 50 to 60 pips, depending where you've entered. Now, again, that might not be big from a, if we're used to trading indices, but that's equivalent to, 600 pips to 1,000 pips on indices. So nice, really good trade this morning. Depending where you are on this order, I just want to show you guys something really quick that'll blow your mind. There is my GBP USD 20 lot buy right here at the bottom. Currently trading 20 lots at $10,500 in profit. Stop loss move to profit on both of my trades as we speak right now, right? And that is a great way, a great example of how much you can do in this market and how much you can do in this space. If you aren't profit on GBP USD, go ahead and share the love. Pop me a screenshot. Why not? Just pop a screenshot. Tag us on Instagram. Say that you're in our live sessions, right? These things are absolutely free. And the more you guys enjoy it, the more you guys find benefits of it, the more we expand, right? The goal in the near future is to cover the whole trading day, right? From 8 in the morning to 8 in the evening, right? To cover the whole trading day through live broadcasts. I will jump in for the high impact items that I really, really enjoy, but we're going to get an analyst for crypto. We're going to get analysts in for gold, commodities, someone from the JSE to analyze local markets, news reporters, special show segments, things like that. So if you want to be a part and parcel of that, you want to support the show, the best way you can do that is hit by smashing that like button, obviously subscribing. There's a little bell notification icon. If you go and hit that and you say show all, every notification when we go live will come through to you and you'll never miss another upload. That's a simple way for you to say thank you and a simple way for you to help the channel grow, as we hope to be in a position where in a couple months from now, we can have thousands of people live in these sessions together. And just imagine what an environment that would be like. That would just be something, energy on a completely new level. So if you want to do that, you want to be part and parcel, like I said, smash the like button, subscribe if you feel we've earned it, and we will continue to bring the heat and do the most. Now, really quickly, GPUSD is on its way. It's doing its thing. I don't think there's much else to say here. If you're looking for a trade, provided we don't get an engulfing candle here, again, this is only on 5 minutes, provided we don't get a bearish tweezers here, provided we don't get an engulfing candle that closes out below this candle, I do think there is a good opportunity to get in on a retest here, and it is slightly lower just from a pure price action perspective. It might be somewhere in that region, but again, we're getting a nice little pullback. So if you want to get in on a trade here, I would say personally, I would look for some sort of break in structure. Right, and if we break that little 1 minute time frame, I'd say then that's safe to start looking for those buys. If you want to play it safe, then that is potentially the way that I would use there. We do, and just must also be cognizant of the fact we do have a diagonal resistance. Even though we've got that flatter resistance, we do need to obviously deal with that. So I'm saying look at the UK 100. Yes, sir. UK 100 is pumping topside. I don't know why. Not 100% sure why. Inflation is not a friend of the markets, but we will do analysis and comparison on what are the differences between that impact on the US stock markets versus traditional markets whatsoever. So we will have a look at that. But I think jumping into our traditional analysis and how we generally do things, let's start off this morning by having a look at what is currently happening on that dollar index, right? So dollar index was currently hovering right in this region. This morning when we placed the GPUSD buy, we were sitting in this region. We got a little bit of a push up, a little bit of a pump to the top side. Dollar index stalled out, and then we got that major fall. That has fueled the rally that we're currently seeing on GBPUSD. Now, is the dollar index done? Can it, is it stopped? Is it finished? If you have a look here, can you see what price action format we're getting here, right? We're getting that classic scallop, right? Where we're starting to see, those highs start to become slightly lower. And the second we start to make lower lows, that's the first indication we are in a scallop formation, right? And there can be a bearish scallop, a bullish scallop, but regardless, this is one of the most common price action formations, right? There's no straight line, no straight trend line here, but rather we get this sweeping motion. That is a good sign for a continuation or downside move currently sitting on that dollar index. So we do expect dollar index to currently lose momentum over the course of the day. And then again, obviously, we're going to get those retail sales data numbers that are going to come in. So how are we going to deal with retail sales, right? And just for those of you who would like to prepare and obviously have a little bit of foresight, if retail sales come in higher than expected, right, this is going to be decent and good for the dollar. It's going to give the dollar a boost. But again, it points towards inflation, right? We would want to see retail sales come in alignment within expectation or below expectation. That will be in line with what Papa Powell is trying to achieve with a lot of his economic policies. So if we get a lower than expected number, this is going to be bad for the dollar and great for the stock markets, great for indices. If we get a mixed bag, we're obviously going to have to pick out what means more than the rest. And that is what I'll do with you live just before that data comes out. But yes, we will be able to capitalize on those retail sales regardless, right? And that is what we do. And I think you guys have seen the trend. We almost every single day end the day in a profit. We almost every single week, actually every single week, we've smashed the week 5, 10, 20, 30,000 pips in profit. But again, it's not about, there's no common formula. There's no common strategy here. It's about spending time in the markets and looking for the opportunities. The opportunities don't present themselves naturally. We go ahead and we find it. We make an opportunity for ourselves. And I think that's the beautiful thing about trading is that, what you need to pull out of the markets is purely determined by your efforts and your contribution towards that, right? In every other place in life, you're simply dealt a set of cards that you must just deal with, right? You have no control over that. The markets, even though random, even though extremely hard to master over a period of time, has a direct correlation of your effort that you put in is what you can get out. So if you know you need to live a certain lifestyle, the markets can give you that, but it's about putting in that effort. And that's what the value proposition is for Globex 360 Live TV, is that we put in a ton of the effort for you so that you can follow along and benefit and technically earn while you learn, while you're a student, and obviously growing your art and your craft within that market. Remember, we're all students. I still consider myself a student. I'm still learning something every single day from the markets, right? Chris H saying every day for the last 3 weeks profit. I think I agree. I don't know. I haven't counted. All I know is my personal trading journal has been in profit every single week for the past 2 months, just about. But the shows have adapted. They have changed. We have evolved things substantially, and the consistency is obviously ramped up. So we've just been smashing things. Let's see. A suggestion, bro. We've thought about a scoreboard. The only issue is we actually had an automated scoreboard. So I had software previously that would take my trading journal and then summarize it, winning trades, losing trades. It would make it easier to summarize, but it was taking all of my personal trades, even the trades I take outside of the shows. But yes, we do want to be in a position where trades taken live, and maybe one of you guys will be able to help out with that. It's just about keeping a register, giving us the numbers, and then putting it up on the charts, right? But that's what it's all about. And the numbers will be insane, right? Yes, we lose some feeler trades. I personally lose some feeler trades, but I generally like working on pip counts, right? Overall pip count for the day, positive or negative. That's a good indication. Yeah, so we generally do edit things, but yeah, time is just something else. For those of you who are wondering, I get a lot of questions about my time, and actually I think it's probably not the right forum to show you my diary, but it is nuts, right? So a little 20-30 minutes extra every day it sounds like a little, but I promise you it adds up in the end. Okay, enough about me and all the rest, but great suggestion. Thank you to whoever suggested that. Uncle B saying he would love to do that. Was that a suggestion? Yeah, that would be amazing if that is. If anybody would be keen on working on that project with me, collaborating, we'll put up a scoreboard, my team can draw up the software, bring it up on screen. I'm really happy to consider something like that. If someone's willing to maybe jump in and keep track of our trades every show and just help with that transparency, I would really, really love that. Okay. So I'm just rambling on and I'm just going through the markets really quickly. Let's get back into structure. So Euro USD, let's have a look at this. So we are on that buy from the CPI data event last week. Absolutely rocked the market, still in that massive buy. Euro USD looks like it is not coming anywhere back down. And again, this is all due to that CPI data event, right? We said time and time again, this number, this result could change the face of the dollar for the next couple trading weeks. People don't always listen. Right? People say, well, yeah, sure, it's just today's trade, but this is an example of that. When markets start to shift, when you're at that T junction, where you start to get a shift in power from the dollar to the yen, to the euro, to the pound, whatever it may be, from the dollar to gold, from the dollar to Bitcoin, whatever the case may be, you start to get these opportunities that once engaged, right, will set the trend for the balance of the next couple months. Now, if you're jumping in for the very first time and you haven't noticed that, no issues, we'll help you with that. But again, that's about being prepared and ready for an opportunity and executing. So Euro USD is a great example of that. I'm going to hold Euro USD long term. Absolutely amazing. I just want to show you guys my swap on Globex at the moment for holding this position. And I believe I entered this trade on the 10th. So I'm been holding it for well over a trading week, right? And I'm holding a big position. I'm holding 2 lots, right? My swap is less than 10 pips. My swap is currently $133, which at 2 lots, and you guys know the math, right? 2 lots for every pip, right? On a major currency means $20, right? So I've got a 10 pip swap, less than 10 pips actually, probably about 6.57 pips worth of swap on my account for holding over the space of a week. That is just absolutely phenomenal. Meaning, you know, I can hold this for a couple months and not exceed $1,000 from a swap perspective. Now remember, $1,000 may sound like a lot of money, but considering this trade can go to $30,000, $40,000, is $1,000 a lot? I don't know. Up to you. You let me know about that. But again, just really impressed with the swap. So just thank you so much to the team for keeping things affordable and making sure that we can swing trade. Because again, a lot of brokers don't like that. They don't want you to hold trades long term. But again, because of how Globex is positioned, it just makes it so much easier to trade. Now, looking at USD ZAR this morning, we do have a bigger opportunity currently sitting below us at the 61.8. Nowhere close to being in fruition as yet. I do want price to get closer to that 17 Rand to the dollar. But again, obviously looking at what's currently happening with South Africa, again, you could just see this is purely dollar domination, right? We have unemployment rising. We've got fuel prices going up. We've got inflation happening. We've got state parastatals that can't keep the water or the lights on or transportation or the internet, any of those items, but yet, the South African Rand is still picking up in value, right? South African Rand goes down. What does it mean? It means that $1, right? $1 can afford to buy less and less South African Rand. What does that mean? Does that mean the Rand's becoming less expensive? No, it means the Rand is becoming more valuable. The dollar can afford to buy less and less of it. And that's why we see USDZAR fall to the downside. As again, I saw there's a question about the Academy. These subjects are covered in full by the Academy, but we've made a strategic decision to rather spend a little bit more time on other resources to be in a position to essentially better the experience we have from an online and live broadcast experience. Again, like I said, we have new presenters that are currently being trained up. We have new talent that is busy being prepared to bring and deliver something exceptional to the channel. We've decided to last weekend make that a priority, but we will start to see the Academy come out this week. Now, we all are of the opinion at this point in time, we are going to start a trickled out version. So Beginners Academy, in terms of logging in, creating your accounts, downloading MT MetaTrader, which I hate, logging into the web trader, setting up yourself basic chart navigation, pip counts, stop loss, things like that. That's all part of the basic introduction academy. Then we have the intermediate, which is more like an advanced or pro academy. Anywhere else, we're calling it intermediate because we're still going to be having a next section, right? So that'll tie in with the different account groups that you guys are going to see launch this week with deposit bonuses, and we're going to tie those themes in. So the beginners will be like an introduction, just the bare minimum in order to get started, to open and close trades and to feel comfortable with the markets. We're then going to have premium, which will be the intermediate. That'll have a ton of information. There's going to be about 6 to 7 hours worth of study material within that, in the exact same format you're seeing me now, explain subjects and concepts step by step, giving you assignments, giving you tasks to go ahead and do. And then we're going to have our premium plus as well as private wealth series, right, which goes mad into detail. This is like hedge fund level type education, and that's obviously going to come out. What I'm trying to say is we're going to release example in the premium edition side of things every week. Even though the academy syllabus is all there, it's together, it's ready, it's done, we're going to release essentially a video every week, so you have something really chunky that you can consume, and it obviously creates a demand for the next video. Often we release everything at once. Someone will try and cram all 8 hours in one day and you'll miss what it is that's there. So the idea is that you learn a subject, let's say it's Fibonacci, that you then are able to apply that over the next week. The next subject comes out, it may be pure price action, you may want to then apply that. Then risk management, you may want to apply that. All the way to getting towards a strategy which combines all of these elements and aspects. And this is what we found over the years is the best possible way to learn about the markets. Anyways, so yes, I'm busy obviously jumping in there, and yeah, absolutely. So we are busy with a ton of merch, and we will create a store in the channel, and that's something that we can give away, and something that we can do for advertising. Personally, when I train, I'm spending a ton of money on these different brands, Under Armour, Nike, whatever the case may be. I don't want to be training in brands that I don't know, I'm not loyal to. I'm in the gym, I want to be in Globex type stuff. When I'm out and about, I want to have a Globex cap, I want to put Globex on my car, and that's a brand I can feel proud of. And I think if you guys agree with me, and I think as many of you do, it's a brand we're all proud of. So we are working very hard on the merch side of things. You'll be able to get a desk mat with charts and price action symbols. So like, desk pad, big desk pad for your desk. So when you're trading, it'll have little reminders of your trading journal. It'll have some price action symbols above you. It'll have some pip count calculators just written out there. So very, very cool stuff. Globex 360 costume for summer. Yeah, we'll see. That's a bit pushing it, but we'll see. Anyway, so moving away from USD-ZAR quickly, let's have a look at what else we are currently seeing. Let's just close up that USD-ZAR. Beautiful stuff. Okay, GBP-USD, as we discussed, we're not getting a little breakout of the channel. We're getting a slight little pullback here at the pretty much the start of the London session. We're getting a little bit of pullback, a little bit of hesitation. Perfectly fine, right? Perfectly fine. As we saw yesterday, there's nothing wrong with that pullback whatsoever. We just need to monitor and have a look at, is that pullback part and parcel of a fib level, right? So we're going to draw that out there, and I would feel more comfortable looking at it from that perspective. Okay, so perfectly fine, no issues there whatsoever. We can obviously see that pullback might come to the 61.8, so we might get to the £1 is buying you $1.18 and 70 pips, right? So 1.1870, right? That is our 61.8. We can see markets are potentially stalling out there, and we might get a bit more data to draw some price action. It's a little bit janky, but essentially what we want to see is we want to see a pop back above that level, and then we'll see a continuation to the top side. So this is called pullback trading, right? When markets pull back to a known level, to a known support, that is where we look for opportunities to grab those markets and grab those trades. So there's that 61.8. We're making a push into that zone, which is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The deepest retracement we can make is a 78.6 or an 88.2, right? After an 88.2, right, this is no longer a retracement, and it might be a complete new impulse to the downside. Again, that pound data was super strong. I'm going to simply just put my stop losses below the 88.2. My bigger trade, I'm going to put just below the 8.2. So regardless, if this trade, which is a one lot buy, moves into 7 pips of a negative, that's $70. But my 20 lot buy, right, is going to be in a $2,000 positive. So regardless, I'll still be net positive $1,900, whatever the case may be. Like the Borat one. Yes. Okay, cool stuff. So GBPUSD, nothing to change, nothing I'm going to change here. Simply sticking in this buy. For me, nothing changes, nothing shifts. I'm pretty happy for that long term to let that thing do its thing. US30 gave us an interesting, bit of price action this morning. RSI started to show potential weakness to the downside. And I was looking at this prior to the actual broadcast or prior to the show, is that, could we be seeing that little bit of a weakness on the US30 and a potential break? Well, we got that little bit of a spike there, which obviously broke this RSI structure. So yeah, we didn't get that this morning. It seems that US30 is super happy to continue. And again, we understand and we know why the US30 is continuing. So let me ask the question to you guys in the chat. Guys, why has US30, why has NAS pushed up? Let me ask the question. Why has US30, why has NAS pushed up? So I'd love an answer from you guys. Let's see who can answer first. Why has NAS, why has US30 pushed up? Let me know. 100% always got it right. Dollar's weak. Dollar index is smashed. Dollar is getting dominated by the rest of the world, by the rest of the markets, right? So we are going to see that. But again, that's why GBPUSD, I'm pretty happy to continue on that long position, right? Because why? We've got a strong pound and we've got that weaker dollar coming in. So again, just having a look at the dollar index, just to recap here, we're getting a little bit of a pullback, which this is exactly the moment that we're seeing a little bit of a shift on the GBPUSD. And a little bit of strength there, but we can see that the price action is in line for some sort of retest and some sort of sell. Yesterday, that retest that we were expecting to see happen and then a breakdown, we didn't get. Dollar came in raging for that session. That was part of the US session, right? This being the London session, we could very well still see that continued dollar weakness towards the downside and price action being respected there, right? We've got a great level of support, resistance technically to the dollar right now. So we could see continued dollar losses across the day. I think in order to map this out, and if you want to take advantage of this dollar weakness, the important thing just to map out is that right, we do actually hit resistance. That's going to be the first prerequisite. B, that we start that pullback. We can map out exactly where that's going to be simply by using our friend, the Fibonacci, right? And we can see that 61.8 is just above us, but that 78.6 is slightly higher just into that resistance level. And that'll help us also from a price action perspective to draw out this level in the correct manner. So I'm just going to go to 5 minutes just so I can get access to that level. I'm back on a 1 minute and let's see here. Right, so looking at where the 78.6 is hiding, right, that is essentially what we would look for. So we can expect a little bit of dollar strength moving up into the session and then potentially a breakdown. And that's a good breakdown where it is currently already. But I think just a factor or something you want to bring into your conditions here is we do need to just break this little bit of a bear impulse over the last, whatever it may end up being, 10 minutes or so. Second, this little bear impulse, this bull impulse changes, then definitely consider continuing on that dollar weakness. Yeah. Trump be making moves on US30. Yeah, absolutely. Trump's doing his thing, so there we go. So beautiful price action there. And again, and just showing you the value of how Fibonacci works. But GBP USD, once again, we can see that price pushed into the fib level, pushed out, broke structure, and it's continued to rise. So for a lot of people, it seems like, we have some like ropes around our things, or that this is maybe prophetic vision, or whatever the case may be. And maybe, right? Maybe there is a gift and a skill or an anointing to do kind of things like this. But really, for me, it breaks down to price action, right? Price action will reward you 9 days out of 10, as opposed to the guessing game, right? It's just about being a little bit more technical about these structures and just spending time in the charts, man. Like, people ask me, what is going to be the quickest way to become profitable? Time, right? There's a saying that goes, you need 10,000 hours at something to become proficient. Never mind to master it. For me, 10,000 is just proficiency, right? So if you look at how many hours you have in a day, how many hours in a year, right? There's hours you've got to put in, right? You can cut that time in half by doing, 18, 20-hour days. But again, you're going to hit a point of diminishing returns. You're not going to be in your right mind. So allocating a bit of time every day to the markets, I can promise you, through these live broadcasts, will take you from spending 3-4 hours by yourself. You get the same amount of information condensed in 30 minutes. So yeah, wearing a rope on your waist. I know I've had people tell me crazy things. So yeah, that isn't the dollar index, obviously. Let's get rid of that dollar index thing there. Yeah, there we go. Let's get rid of that. Okay, cool stuff. So again, we're just going to hold GBP/USD. I'm not going to look at anything. Okay. So I drew this out a little bit earlier because we do start to see those breakout points either at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, indices, NASDAQ, things like that. Let's have a look at US30, what US30 is up to. So 1 minute time frame, US30 is pretty happy to be in structure. Again, just taking notes and just considering the fact we have had these little temporary breakouts north and south. And again, this isn't the most scientific channel ever drawn in the history of price action. This was quite a roughly drawn channel. But in any event, I think the item I want you to take away from this is that just monitor this on a 1 minute time frame. If you start to get a substantial break, no matter where the break ends up happening, just look at your next. So if it breaks to the downside, look at your next support level. Look at the next support level below that, and then consider, once breaking through both of those, right, then you might want to consider getting into a sell. Right, same thing for the top side. If you break to the top side, you just want to break at least 1 or 2 resistances above you. And for that, you might need to go a little bit further back in the data. And the resistance levels above us are going to be that one, which coincides with where we are now. And then again, that supports, which coincides with also, I suppose, where we are now. Right, so that those two levels correspond. So for a topside break, again, just looking at that, I'm a little bit worried about a topside break because we're already in a bullish channel here. And a topside break would signify almost like an impulsive break or an overextension of already a bullish market. Overextensions are usually the quickest way to tell a market is trying to shoot for the stars that it can't reach. So I don't like overextensions, both to the downside and to the top side. So when a market's rising, I'm most of the time looking for a breakout to the downside. When the market's falling, I'm most of the time looking for buys. That's just my personal preference, and I find I'm more profitable looking at those turnaround points and confirming those turnaround points and putting rules in to catch those turnaround points long term. Anyway, let's see. Joseph's asking, what are we thinking about in terms of German 30? I think I deleted my German 30 the other day. There we go. Okay, so very same structure. I drew this out a little bit earlier. Prices obviously changed a little bit. So German 30 is giving a similar structure to what I got earlier when having a look at US 30, in the sense that we started to get, let me just add my RSI there quickly. So we got a very, very similar structure to what we ended up getting on US 30 a little bit earlier. So, what we would want to look for here, I just want to find and get some more data. Okay. So I think the important thing to note here is that, we want to see some sort of break here. We might end up getting it after this last impulse. Let's just check if we have any divergence or confluence here. This is again still 1 minute time frame. Just going to lock this thing in place, so I'm going to keep dragging it. So if we have a look at the momentum here, right, on the RSI, we are making those lower lows, right, which we are making in terms of real price action. From a higher high perspective, this is where we're getting that divergence, right? Markets making higher highs from price action, RSI is making lower highs. So that there is the first sign of divergence, right? Meaning what the price action is saying and what the RSI is saying from a volume perspective is different. Remember, there's a relative strength index. So it's looking at that strength of the markets. Markets are showing from a price action perspective that they're getting stronger, whilst the RSI is saying the opposite thing, right? That is the first sign we could be getting a little bit of a turnaround in terms of price. The other thing is that we've started to make these little bit of a breakout towards downside in terms of the lower lows. And so that's going to be important. If the lower lows on the RSI were not reflecting, I would then be worried, because then again, it's divergence of those lower lows, right? Here, the market's showing it's getting weaker. The RSI is confirming it's getting weaker. And those are two good preliminary checks to make before looking at any sort of substantial move to the downside. Now, again, I would utilize the same strategy where that is going to be, I think, immediately under us. We're literally sitting on support as we speak, right? So that level there is support to a large extent. And all I would literally be doing is looking at, we break current support and support 2, I would start to get in for a sell. And the only thing you just need to be aware of in the event of getting into that sell is we could be into a little bit of a range to the downside. We could, this market might not impulse, but rather range. So if you're entering in a sell just below support number 2, please understand that it is fully expected that you're going to hit support below that and then start to retrace or complete this little bit of a formation here. So we might end up going to that one, going to that one, and then finally getting under your original entry point. So again, managing a trade like this just means that if you're entering there and it moves into profit, if you move your stop loss to entry, you're going to be taken out. If you entered there and markets pull back there, if at this point you move your stop loss to entry, you're going to be taken out on the retest. So only once markets have, from a price action perspective, fully started their structural move towards the downside, at this point, you can now move your stop loss to your entry, because why? The next pullback, if market structure is maintained, will not exceed or go past your original entry point. Okay, so I don't know if that makes sense or I'm speaking too much. Lee van Skalkwijk's asking, do I have a limit on how much time I can spend in the charts each day? So really, it really comes down to how much time is available in a day, right? I think, the important thing about that is that, if you have a look at my day, and I'll share this with you guys. I don't think it's an issue. It's my personal calendar. There's nothing else that's really crazy here. This is an example of my day. Let me quickly share with you guys. I get a lot of questions about this, and I'm pretty happy to address it. So this is an example of my day. There's 4 a.m. There's a wake up. 4 a.m. fundamental data, thumbnail, schedule, show schedules, have a shower, protein shake, whatever the case may be, prep for news, prep technical analysis. We have a business meeting, our premium plus show, Pounds breakfast, which we're currently in. Then I have lunch. Then I've got a gap for myself. Then I've got a personal gap. And I've started the market analysis from 1 for the premium session, as well as for Dollars for Lunch main session. Dollars for Lunch kicks in, premium plus show, and then I train for 2 hours directly afterwards. So, when people message and call and say, why am I not responding? It's just, there is limited time, right? And I enjoy being in the markets. It doesn't feel like work. It's not a job. It's not a task. It's just, I enjoy being in the markets with you guys. So is there a limited amount of time? Is there a maximum or minimum? Days like this week, I'm really enjoying trading in the market. So days like this week, I will spend 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day in the markets, where on weeks where it's a little bit more busy and the business needs a bit more, attention from a growth and new product perspective, I might limit that to 3-4 hours a week. But it also depends on the markets, right? If the market's acting dodgy, I'll reprioritize my time and I'll reprioritize, what I end up looking at. And it's just about shifting time. It's just about shifting time. It's about putting your time where you are able to create and get the most value. It's just time management. So it does shift from period to period. Anyways, guys, I'm rambling and I'm going on tangents that aren't related to the markets. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So you guys know US30 what to do here. You're aware on NASDAQ what to do over here. Markets are coming back into structure. GBPUSD is going past that 78.6, past that retracement there. So I'm again keeping my price at that 88.2 because this doesn't look like a market structure I want to maintain towards that top side. Let's just give it a bigger look on a bigger time frame. Let's just make sure we're seeing the same things. Yeah, I mean, if GBPUSD wants to go back to that 88.2, that's going to be in line with the market structure. There's nothing wrong with that from a price action perspective. It could be expected. And I might very well even hold that still, right? If I'm honest. I'd like to see GBPUSD to the moon. And so I've taken some profit already, closed some trades here. So, regardless, I'm at a net positive on GBPUSD for the day, but I would like to hold this into an investment trade. I would like to be speaking about next week. Hey guys, remember we bought GBPUSD and we held it. Some of the best trades aren't the most easy to hold long term. Euro USD was obviously a very easy one because, again, I think we utilized NFP for the Euro USD, if I'm not mistaken. Either NFP or CPI. I can't remember which one of the events was the one that happened, but that was a straight runner, right? That was just a monster. That was very easy to hold. Where swing trades that are with natural market dynamics, they involve pullbacks, they involve some retests, they involve stressing you out a little bit. But those are the ones that make for great runners over a period of time. So I don't want to miss this one. I don't want to close it just because we've made weekly targets. I'd like to see this one materialize fully. But for me, that lowest point is sitting at that 88.2, which is what we're busy currently testing, which is where both of my stop losses are for the bigger trades. So if it decides to go through, I'm essentially just going to monitor and have a look at what is the reaction at this level of support. And if the reaction is positive, I'm going to re-enter at a lower level. I'll take the profit here because I obviously don't want to give back all this profit. But if that is the case, I'll close in this zone for net positive, maybe $1,900 with that $70 to $80 loss, and then look for a re-entry. Utilize that, maybe half of that $1,900. So maybe utilize $950 towards a bigger entry toward the top side. And that way my risk is then still limited. So that's essentially what I'm going to be doing today. But again, this is all based on pretty small data this morning. I think the big data, the big opportunity is definitely going to be retail sales, right? So if you want to be part of those retail sales, that's going to be 3:15 this afternoon. Links have been or will be emailed out around about 12, but you do also have links to that in your client area as you log in on the www.globex360 website. So that is essentially what we're going to be focusing on. And other than that, guys, I don't really have much more to say other than, the drill. Be safe, trade safe. And as always, just remember to do things the Globex 360 way. I'll see you guys a little bit later. I'm pumped for retail sales. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I have allocated about an hour just to sit and chill and recover on that little bit of lost sleep from last night. But other than that, guys, yeah, we're going to have an amazing time still. So absolutely have yourselves an amazing day. If I'm not with you this afternoon, if you're not going to be part and parcel, get those accounts funded. Do yourselves a favor. It'll be one of the best things you've done for the balance of this year as well as next year. Outside of that, guys, have yourselves an amazing afternoon. See you a little bit later. Goodbye. Hey, how's it, man? Yeah.